We know that we can find multiples in our multiplication tables, but how do we find the least common multiple between two numbers? Sometimes this is called the LCM. We're going to find out now. But first, what is the definition of a multiple? The multiple simply is the product when two numbers are multiplied by each other. And so if we take 3 times 5, we multiply them together and we get 15. If we look in our timetable, we can see that 15 is in the 3 times table, so it is a multiple of 3. And 15 is also in the 5 times table, so it's a multiple of 5. And so what is the least common multiple now? Well, when we compare multiples of 2 or more numbers, it is the smallest multiple that they have in common. And so let's look at the multiples of 2 and the multiples of 3. The multiples of 2 are in our 2 times table, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on. The multiples of 3 are in our 3 times table, 3, 6, 9, 12, and so on. And if we look at the red numbers are the multiples that are common to 2 and 3. 6 and 12 are both multiples of 2 and 3. And if we had to identify which one of those red numbers are smaller, or the smallest, we can see that 6 is smaller than 12. And so the LCM, or the least common multiple of 2 and 3, is 6. And that's how you find the LCM. And so let's look at two numbers. Let's list the multiples of 3 and 5 and see if we can find an LCM. The multiples of 3 found in our 3 times tables are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And if I listed more, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. And now if I list the multiples of 5 in the 5 times table, we get 5, 10, 15, 20. Continuing on, we get 25, 30, 35, 40. And if we look at the multiples in both, we can see 15 is the same and 30 is the same. So the common multiples of 3 and 5 are 15 and 30. But the smallest, or the least common multiple of 15 and 30, meaning which one of those two numbers are smaller, we know 15 is smaller than 30. And therefore, the least common multiple now of 3 and 5 is 15. The LCM of 3 and 5 is 15. Let's look at it another way. Let's list the multiples of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and we'll stop there. Now let's list the multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16. And if we look at both sets of multiples, we can see 4 is common and 12 is common. And we call those the common multiples. They are the same. We can list those as 4 and 12. Those are the common multiples of 2 and 4. But the least common multiple, meaning the number that is the smallest out of 4 and 12, we see is 4. So the LCM of 2 and 4, the numbers that we started out with, is 4. Let's look at two different numbers now. Let's list the multiples of 4 again. The multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Let's list the multiples of 6 now. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Now let's find the numbers, the multiples that are common to 4 and 6. We can see that 12 is common and 24 is common. So we can list those as the common multiples, 12 and 24. But which one of those two numbers is the least common multiple? Well, that number is the number there that is smaller than the rest, and that number is 12. So the least common multiple, or the LCM of 4 and 6, is 12. But sometimes you wonder, how many multiples do you have to list in order to find something that is common? And that is a good question. And so what we do is we start by listing about 4 or 5 multiples of each number. And if there is nothing in common at that point, all we do is we list a few more until we find a number that is common. And so let's take a look. Let's look at the number 5 and list the multiples of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Those are the first 5 multiples of 5. Let's look at the multiples of 6. The first 5 multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Those are found in our 6 times table. But if I have a look, there is no number, there is no multiple that is common in our lists. And so what do? we continue writing multiples. We continue listing multiples of 5 and see if we can find something that is common. So the next multiple after 25, the next multiple of 5 after 25 is 30. And I can see now that 30 is also a multiple of 6. So now we found our common multiple. The common multiple is 30. And therefore, because it's only one number that we see, that is the least common multiple. Now, if we had to list more multiples of 5 and more multiples of 6, eventually we would find another common multiple. So let's take a look. The multiples of 5 after 30 are 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. We'll stop there. The multiples of 6 after 30 are 36, 42, 48, 54, and 60. Where did these come from? They came from our 6 times table. We can see now that in both we have the number 60, and so that is also a common multiple of 5 and 6. But we are trying to find the least common multiple, not the greatest common multiple, the least. And so 30 is still smaller than 60. And so the least common multiple of 5 and 6 is still 30. So as long as you find a number that is common to both, that will be the least common multiple, or the LCM. Now let's try list the multiples of 3 numbers and see if we can find the LCM between 3 different numbers. Let's look at the multiples of 2 again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Now let's look at the multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And the multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So we're trying to find the LCM of 2, 3, and 4, which means, are there any multiples that are common to 2, 3, and 4? Let's have a look. We can see that 12 is a multiple of 2, 12 is a multiple of 3, 12 is a multiple of 4. And so therefore, at this point in our list, the common multiple is 12. And that makes the least common multiple, since it's only 1, of 12. The LCM of 2, 3, and 4 is 12. And now it's quiz time. Find the LCM of 2 and 5. Time's up. The answer is 10. The multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, and 20. And we can see that 10 is common to both. Number 2. Find the LCM of 3 and 6. Time's up. The answer is 6. The multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12. The multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, and 24. We can see that the common multiples are 6 and 12, but the least common multiple, or the LCM, is 6. Number 3. Find the LCM of 2 and 8. Time's up. The answer is 8. The multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24, and 32. And the common multiple, we can see in yellow, is 8. And therefore the LCM is 8. Number 4. Find the LCM of 10 and 4. Time's up. The answer is 20. The multiples of 10 are 10, 20, 30, 40. The multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and so on. And at this point, we see 20 is common. And all we need to do is to find one number that is common. That is the lowest, which is 20. And number 5, find the LCM of 12 and 3. Time's up. The answer is 12. The multiples of 12 are 12, 24, 36, 48. And the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and so on. And if we continue to list, we would probably get numbers that we see in the 12 times table as well. But all we need is the lowest, and that number is 12, and so the LCM is 12. And now you've solved the mystery of how to find the least common multiple. Great job.